Welcome to the Local
724 podcast.
in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Local Podcast. Today in studio we have Evan Dinsmore and Brian F. Henry. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hello.
You. Happy to be here, man. This is amazing. This is very cool.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I love this space.
It's pretty fun. I like it a lot.
Yeah,
It serves its purpose.
I'm
for
surprised.
Sure.
Yeah, it's official. It's great.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
So this is an episode that I think that I've been looking forward to a lot longer than pretty much anyone, because I've invited both of you on before the podcast.
We've been trying to make it happen.
Was even a podcast.
Yeah.
So here we are. Tonight
Yeah, we've been
the night.
talking about this for a while. This is great.
Right?
I've been making excuses as to how I could get out of it.
We'll try to make you proud. Yeah, I know.
Even up until about 5:30 tonight.
You were nervous. Yeah, I'm glad you're here.
Dude, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's my honor.
Yeah. So here's the deal. Tonight's going to be kind of a different show. It's more of a hang session,
More casual.
but
It's 9 o'clock at night, people.
right? We're doing the Local After Dark.
What time do most of your guests come?
Typically, I try and schedule them around 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And I think the latest one that I did, besides tonight, was with Invisible Man. They were here at like 8.
Yeah.
So
Being a little later, I was allowed to, once we ate dinner,
Yeah.
get the kids to bed, everything.
well, it's all good. I mean, because we're sitting here like drinking some beers and stuff like that. With the Invisible Man, we were drinking some beers. I had Dennis and Sammy on from the First Sip Brew Box, and that was at 11:30 in the morning, and we got drunk. 11:30 in the morning.
Go
So,
home.
on a
I need a
Tuesday.
nap after
Yeah.
that, dude.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. But so we've got this like co-host thing going on right here with Brian.
Well, yeah, it's good because you're
we're
both
gonna-
filmmakers.
right?
You're both in photography. You're both.
Jordan and I have known each other since you were, I think, in second grade when you
Yeah.
moved across the street.
Yeah, you
from
guys
me.
have known
Oh,
each
yeah.
other a really, really long time.
I mean, this is like a brother situation here.
Yeah.
It's like,
We grew up together.
dude, yeah. I went to a daycare center, and this little redheaded kid comes up to me with his posse, and he like comes up to me and he's like, "Yo, are you the dude moving into me next door on Spruce Street?" And I'm like, yes. And he was like, "All right, you're cool, I guess."
Come on.
Like, what the hell?
I do kind of remember that.
It's a true story.
That wasn't
was
at
like-
daycare. That was at
Did you
the
not?
elementary school.
Oh, was it?
Did you not know you were just like you just went with it? You didn't know if you were moving in next.
Oh
to
no,
him or
I
not?
knew. Yeah, I knew we were moving. That was like hot shit. I was like, man, we're moving into a new house. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was very exciting. I was excited.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then, so we just stayed there, and then, my family became his family, and vice versa. So it's just like it's a great thing. And you cut both of our hair. So isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mine, I think, looks pretty good right here. I'm always like, we get in there, and I'm like, dude,
Just
like,
like me
give me-
enough to stick out of
give
my
me the
hat.
faux hawk, but leave some so I can do the thing out the hat.
I can't believe you're allowing me to be the representative of your work.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks good.
You don't have any better looking friends to bring onto the podcast?
Well, this is the best we could do. So.
Yeah, that's about the best we could do. But yeah, man. So you work at Comrades.
Yes, I do.
You work at the Irwin shop.
Oh, yeah. Thanks a lot for that, by the way.
Yeah. Well, you mean driving out there? Well,
I like you. I came.
Yeah. So Brian and I, we both drive to the Irwin shop to get our hairs done.
I'm
by,
very fortunate.
by Evan.
yeah. Well, everyone I think is familiar with the Greensburg shop. It's right across the street from Headkeeper.
Yeah.
That's where we met.
Yeah. Well, I cut both your hair in Greensburg, and then
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough for you guys to follow me out there. And whenever we moved out to Irwin, I honestly thought it would be like a lot smoother transition, but I had to do some reworking. I had to rebuild some clientele, and a lot of the people that I thought would come, some came and some didn't. And I met a lot of new friends going out to Irwin, and I kept some of the same ones that were in Greensburg. It was harder than I thought it would be. I think people are used to their routine, you know, like they do the same thing every day. So even though Irwin's not that far away, it to some people it seems like it's really, really far. And so yeah, it's whenever we went out there, I don't know how I felt about it. Like I was really excited. You know, it was a brand new shop. The shop's great, and
it was an expansion project.
Yeah, exactly. Like
so they went from Greensburg, second location in Irwin.
I was so comfortable in Greensburg. I mean, everything was like I said, routine. I mean, I was used to the same thing every day, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're having to rebuild and but it's been great. I mean, it's been over a year now, and everything.
Is that really it though?
Yeah,
it's only been a year.
It's only we started moving in September, and then I guess
it's like a little over.
Yeah, October was like really whenever we kind of got situated and everything. But it's Comrades has been great, man. It's so I guess I'll start like from whenever everything, you know, from the very beginning. I always wanted to be an artist, you know, like I thought that I would sell paintings like my whole life, like, and it was actually my graduation party, and my godfather came to my graduation party. He's in the industry. He cuts hair, and he came to my graduation party. He was like, "So you're gonna do the art school thing?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do." And he's like, "I think that's stupid." And I was like, "What?" And he's very honest guy. And he said, "You know, you're artsy and you're creative, and I think you would be really good at hair. Like you should do hair, you know." And he said he would take me under his wing, and so I said, "Okay," you know. I went and met with him the next day, and you know, that was kind of the beginning of it all. And honestly, like he was way ahead of his time. It was a great idea because all my buddies that I thought, you know, or that I was like, you know, artsy friends with, they all went to art school, and a lot of them either dropped out or, you know, they don't work in that industry now, you know, and so it turned out to be a really good thing. But I kind of went back and forth, you know, like, I mean, I was really, really young. I mean, that's the whole thing. Like whenever you're in high school, like they expect you to know exactly what you're going to do. And
it's impossible.
I mean, and I thought that's what I wanted to do, and I did. And it went well for a while. But then I kind of like second guessed it, I guess, and like went and did other things. And I got this union job, like down the road. Like I got this union job that my dad hooked me up with, and I mean, it was a quote unquote good job. Like I had benefits for the whole family, and was making decent money, but I wasn't happy. And I remember we had our second kid, Luca, and I was holding him. I came home from work and I was holding him, and we had this like little bench in the mud room, and we would like keep shoes in there. And I tried to I was holding him, and I tried to throw his shoes into the bench. And I threw one, and one fell on the floor. And I got so mad, I threw it back into the bench, and I slammed it down, and I broke my thumb.
God.
Yeah, from slamming it. And so I'm sitting in the emergency room till 3 a.m. I got to work at 6 the next day, and I'm like, dude, you're an idiot. Like, what are you doing? You know, you were so mad. Yeah. Like, you were so mad and frustrated that you broke your thumb from slamming, because a pair of shoes fell on the floor. So I was just like, I got to do something. I got to do something different. And I really wanted to get back in hair, but I didn't I don't know. I just didn't, you're trying to work up the courage or whatever it is, So I worked up the whole, like whenever you're like trying to work up the courage to talk to your spouse about something, and like you're like talking to yourself in the rearview mirror in your car on the way home, or like
Hyping yourself up.
Yeah, and so like I had this whole speech plan to like tell my wife and that I got to do this. I got to do this. And whenever I got home, I finally like laid it on her and told her the speech that I had been planning, and she was like, "Okay, that sounds good." So I was like, "That's it. That's all it took." So
It's trust, man. She trusts you.
yeah. So I started cutting hair out of. I made like in the same mudroom that I broke my thumb, and I made like a station, and I got a shampoo bowl and all this stuff, and I started making videos of me cutting hair. And
Oh, really?
yeah,
I never seen these.
No,
Yeah,
What
I've
year
never
are we
seen those
talking?
either.
Where are we here, time wise?
So this was like I've been with Comrades for over 3 years, but so this was like 4 years ago. This was right before. So
Oh, okay. So I was like the third person who you ever cut.
well, pretty young into it. Well, you were definitely like one of the first people that were coming back to me,
Right.
And same with you. You were a little bit later down the road,
Yeah.
but Brian, you were very young in the game. Like you were one of my returning clients.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I got my hair cut by almost every dude there.
I did too. I did
Yeah?
too. Yeah.
Well, I
I
didn't
used
know
to-
how long you guys were coming there.
Yeah.
Before
Dude.
I met you.
I used to go in and get my hair cut by Big Joe, and when I would
started.
walk in,
Original.
Big Joe's down in Irwin.
Yeah. When I would walk in, I used to have this like big beard, and I had like longer hair that I like swept back and stuff. And every time I walked in, they used to call me Zach, and I had no idea why the hell they were calling me Zach.
They got your name wrong?
No. And they kept on, like, I think I corrected them at one point, and I was like, "Yo, dude, I'm Jordan." And he was like, "Nah, you're Zach." And I'm like,
Why?
And I'm like, "Who the hell is Zach?"
They just-
and
they
then
just-
finally, Greg said it, Zach Galifianakis, dude. And I was like,
yeah.
"Oh, Jesus, thanks a
Well,
lot."
that's actually really funny because so for Halloween was coming up, like, obviously this look is new for me. And
It looks
so-
good.
How's that going home, by the way?
it's not going that good.
You look
No?
like you look
Kelly's on me.
like the dude, the Gordon's Fisherman guy.
Everyone. I actually have one of those raincoats. But
He tells me in private he's trying to look like what was his name?
Aquaman. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Aquaman.
My wife, she says every day, she's like, the worst mistake I ever made was saying that Aquaman was hot. Because now I'm trying to achieve the look. It's not going that great.
You're ruining the fantasy.
You look like the Aquaman in the Super Bowl commercial when he rips all of his muscles.
That's what you stole my joke.
Sorry, bro. That's what happens.
But she said it was around Halloween, and someone was like, "Oh, I like that," and she hates like when people are complimenting the hair and the beard because she doesn't want it to be any longer than it is.
It looks good.
And she said, they said, "Oh, you're going for like the Bradley Cooper look, kind of like from Hangover." And she said, "He's going for Zach Galifianakis for the Hangover."
Oh shit.
But yeah. So wait, where were? Oh, so I was posting videos online and cutting hair out of my house, and like the plan was to open up my own business, and I had experiences in like the hair industry, and they just didn't go the way I wanted them to. And I thought, well, if I do it myself, then it'll go the way I want it to. And Greg, that owns Comrades, saw me posting videos, and he actually reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I see, you want to do this. Do you want to do this for real?" And I actually turned him down at first.
Oh wow.
I was like, you know what, I really, really appreciate it, but I'm trying to do my own thing.
You didn't see that coming.
Well,
Like you were not expecting someone to reach out.
No, not. I mean, I was just trying to do my thing.
Doing your thing.
I don't know what I was doing, to be honest.
You were becoming an influencer.
Yeah. And my idea at the time was I actually did like a couple interviews like cutting. My idea was to do like a podcast type thing.
Yeah.
With because whenever you get your hair cut, you have like I have the best conversations with people, and that's really like one of the things that I really do love about this. And my idea was I'll get interesting people on, and I'll cut their hair, and we'll talk about the interesting things that are going on. But it didn't film well. It was like really choppy. Like, plus you got to think like the sound of the clipper is like in the microphone, like because I would put a microphone on them and me.
So you did give it a go.
Well, I tried. Yeah, I mean, I did a few. I probably did maybe like, I don't know, 8 or something.
Oh, wow.
But everyone, like, it didn't work. In the blow dryer, you know, I'd be styling the hair, and it was just loud as hell. And whenever I'd be like,
You could do that corny shit where they speed that part up, and it's just this high pitched like wee.
yeah, I guess I could have, but I mean,
that would have fucking sucked.
I just wanted to be authentic, but it wasn't working. So and like right as I was like, oh, this isn't working, Greg hit me up. So he says like, why don't you come down here? We'll do it for real. And I turned him down. So this is where it gets crazy. So Kelly went and got like a second job while I was like pursuing my passion, you know, to open up my own space.
Yeah.
And she saw an ad on Facebook that Comrades was looking for basically just like a shop assistant. So she went in there, she got the job. So she starts working there for a couple weeks. He doesn't even know that her and I are her and I, you know?
Okay.
So he eventually figures it out, and he's like, hey, what's up with your boy? Like, why doesn't he want to come work here? Like, and she's like, what are you talking about? So I remember I was out on the back porch that night, and she comes home and she's like, why didn't you tell me that Greg asked you to work there? And I was like, I don't know. It just wasn't in the cards, you know? Like, I thought we were trying to do our thing. She's like, I think you should go talk to him, you know? Because she was there and she saw like what it could be, you know? And
Yeah.
Dude, the turnover rate in that place is crazy. I mean, there is like so many people in and out of those doors, like customer wise.
Yeah, customer. Yeah.
I mean,
most of the guys, I mean, stick around
wild
for a long time.
Yeah, not the workers, but the customers. It's wild, man. I mean, you're in there and you're waiting for people, and like a whole bunch of other people come in and stuff like that. It's wild.
Whenever I went in, and I mean, so many things have changed. I mean, whenever I went in there, we still didn't have Booksy. We still didn't have the Booksy app, which is how.
What is Booksy? Yeah.
So Booksy is it's an app that we use that you can book your appointments on. You can it tells you when your last appointment was. It reminds you whenever your appointment is. You basically have your barber's schedule at your hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can see everything that I can see, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I have control, or the barber has control over what's happening, but you see everything that I see, you know,
Right.
what time I have available, what time a barber has available. And I mean, that makes it really, really, that changed the game. I mean, because honestly, Kelly's job at first was to answer the phone, because before Booksy, I would, if I was cutting her hair, I would have stopped like 5 times during that haircut to answer a phone call, answer a text, you know, try to manipulate my schedule, you know, and allocate my time and effort correctly. And Kelly came in for that, and then Booksy happened, and then, you know, kind of everything changed from there. And so I met up with Greg, and we had lunch, and I was like, because you have to understand, I came from more of like a salon background. So I wasn't ready for the barber game. You know what I mean? And I said to him, I was like, are you sure you want me, dude? Because I don't know if I don't do the same thing you do, you know? And he said, don't worry about it. I got you, you know? And I kind of just put my trust in him. And well, I put my trust in Kelly as well, because she kind of vibe checked him, and she knew what kind of person he was. She saw everything that was going on around, and she was the one that really kind of pushed me and said, hey, you know, you need to do this. So I go there. I'm nervous as heck, you know, like the guys around me were cutting. I was good with long hair, you know, with like styling and cutting with shears, you know, and long hair like that. So I had an advantage in that sense. But the fading and the military style haircut, I had no idea what I was doing.
And it's an intimidating room because you have what, 8 6 to 8 barbers
Well,
at once.
Yeah, at the time, I was a 8th barber.
And every client's looking at each other across the way.
Yeah.
Like you're on display. People are watching what you're doing.
You can't hide.
No, you're out there.
You're literally, and like I'm in the hot seat. You know, I'm in the apprentice chair right next to Greg.
Oh yeah.
And everyone knows like that's the apprentice chair. And so let's see what this guy's doing. And I mean, I definitely, I was drowning a few times, you know, not more than a few times, you know.
Yeah.
But he did a good job of like, we would have like code words like, okay, like, so if someone's walking out the door or if someone's, we call it chili bowl. So like if someone had, but you know, like if they just sit a chili bowl on top, you have just a straight guideline the whole way around your head.
Yeah.
It's they'd be like, well, you need like you would just say like, oh, I need some crackers for that chili bowl, you know, or and then
So would you bring them back and would you be like, yo, come back here or what up?
Dude, he tortured me. I mean, but it was a good thing because it trained my eye. Yeah. We're right across the street from Headkeeper, and I had to walk to Family Video once to like get somebody to come back. And I mean, me and Daryl, which is another guy that's there, Daryl's been sweeping hair there since he was like 12 years old.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
So like they walked out and their haircut wasn't like up to his standards, to Greg's standards.
Yeah.
And he was like, go get them. And they had already like, meanwhile.
But they're cool about it. Like they're fine.
Not just cool.
Yeah.
They got up and they were like, best haircut I've ever had in my life.
But Greg wasn't having it.
And he was like, that's terrible. Go get that.
Okay.
And so so after they just got done telling me that was the best haircut they've ever had in their life and walk out the door, Greg's like, go get them. That was pathetic. So I have to go out the door and like, I'm like, are you serious? Because it was the first time it happened. And he's like, the longer you wait, the more steps they get away from the shop, the harder it is going to be to get them back. So I go out, by the time they're almost a Family Video, and I'm like, excuse me, man, can you just come back to the shop? And he's like, why? What's wrong? And I'm like, just come back. And I had to go back and fix like the little weight line or whatever it was that he saw, you know?
What do you think the other guys in the shop were doing while you were running out there?
They were in their glory.
Yeah,
man. Like they loved it.
Hell yeah.
Were they laughing when you came in? Or
It's there's a lot of friendly a good friendly competition is good. You know, I mean, I'm sure you guys have friendly competition. You're both in this.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, you got to bust balls.
You have to, and that's how you train the eye.
To do it.
Yeah, that's how you train your eye. You know, and there's no other way around it sometimes. You know, and the guys that can take it, the guys that Greg's been hard on, and that could take the criticism and kind of be like, all right, fine, you're right. You know, are the ones that have done really, really well. You know, and I mean, I've reaped the benefits of that. It wasn't always easy. You know, sometimes I didn't say a word all day. He'd say something, it got me so mad. and I wouldn't say a word all day, but
that's good though, man. He was pushing you. He was pushing you to grow, and now look where the fuck you're at.
Yeah, I mean,
it's all good.
I'm very fortunate.
Right?
I'm very, very fortunate. I mean, it's crazy how things happen. I mean, it really is. And now I mean, I get to do what I love, and I get to make a living at it, and you know,
Irwin's up and running.
Yeah, I mean,
you're fully booked.
Yeah,
you're only getting you on Booksy,
right?
Booksy changed the game
in the private room.
Yeah, Booksy changed the game.
Did he tell you that I stood him up the other week?
Oh shit!
He came.
Why did you invite him on here?
I told him at your wedding party. I was like, do you know you missed your appointment? And he was like, what?
Oh, man. I can't.
Too funny.
It's okay.
You bring technology into haircuts, I'm bound screwed up.
Right.
Well, the good thing about the Booksy is if you make a mistake, you really only make it once. You know, so there are a few. I mean, look, technology most of the time makes everything 100% easier, or I should say 95% easier.
Yeah.
You know, 5% of the time, there's a mistake that happens. You know, and sometimes a client will book with a barber they didn't mean to book with, or they'll book the wrong time or the wrong date. But the good news is that once that happens, it really only ever happens once, because after that you triple check, you quadruple check. You know?
Like forgetting to hit record on a camera.
Did you hit record?
Yep, we're recording
You've been
now.
recording this whole time? Good.
Nah, but like, I mean, those are things that, you know, I think that whenever I first used Booksy, I was on there like triple checking like when my appointment was. I would sit there and like, all right, Thursday, 10 a.m. I knew it wouldn't go to p.m., but I was still just like making sure that it was all good. And like,
Well, see, that's the other great
now
thing.
I just hit rebook.
Yeah,
or whatever
right.
it is.
Well,
I didn't ever
be
find
careful with that though, because if you hit rebook, it doesn't necessarily just take you to me. It just means rebook, and it'll give you.
Oh, it takes me right to you.
Oh, well,
I have your picture is on Booksy, so
Yeah.
I just hit your picture like on the front tab, and it takes me
some
right
people,
to your schedule.
some people have told me I hit rebook, and it just took, that
I mean,
was-
it's probably because I'm the better customer. Let's be honest.
maybe you're better with technology. Yeah. But there's a lot of success stories with Comrades. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, Daryl's been there, sweeping hair since he was 12 years old. And Greg, transformed him into the person that he is now. Joey, Big Joey.
Yeah.
Same thing, was working a gas line job and not really happy with where he was at, killing it now. I mean, he took me, I knew that this is where I wanted to be, and I just needed kind of some molding, and there's been a lot of cool success story. And Comrades also does apprenticeship programs. So what that means, the state board requires that you dock 1,250 hours, right? So you can either do that through a school or you can do that through an apprentice program. So the school, it's $18,000. You spend 9 months not really making any money, having to go to school, and or there's an apprenticeship program, and you spend that 9 months making a little bit of money, but at the end, you have your license, and
you built like a good rapport with the shop, so there's a good possibility. You're gonna
and
get
once
your
your
job.
9 months, exactly. Once your 9 months is over, you've spent 9 months building a clientele, hopefully, and you don't have any debt. You made a little bit of money. I don't care if you made $0. You made,
you didn't spend 18,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a really, really good thing. The apprenticeship program. I've seen guys that have stayed in house and some guys that have left. And you kind of know what it's gonna be. You kind of know what they're. You feel them out. If they're gonna. Some people are gonna stay, and some people, like myself, are Comrades for life. But that's okay. You're still doing good for the area. You know? So I don't know. Did you guys always want to do what you're doing now, or did you kind of go through
Come to you for haircuts?
I've been dreaming.
Not
of
really.
always know you wanted me to cut your hair?
Can Aquaman cut my hair?
I'm just curious because
It's more like Bieber when I met him.
Well, what about
because
Brian?
I thought I knew what I wanted, and then I kind of made mistakes, and kind of went back on it.
I stayed on track.
You did
From the very beginning.
Yeah, I'm one of the few people that I know that I studied with that is still doing. So I'm a professional photographer, and ever since I got out of college, I've made every dollar of my living with a camera.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to Edinburgh,
Okay,
which is up
Erie,
just south of Erie.
Yeah.
And Jordan went there as well.
That's where I went.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, you guys really did do the same.
So, but I literally, I enrolled in photography there. I had no idea what I was getting into. I ended up in journalism for 10, 15 years.
Because you worked for the Tribune.
I didn't go to journalism school.
Yeah, didn't you work for the Trib?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I did not go to journalism school. I went to, it was like a fine art approach to photography. Mm-hmm. But, I had an interest in photographing people. And the professor there that I ended up with, and I just kept taking her over and over again. She became a mentor, was a documentary photographer outside of being a professor. And she just inspired me, and I just kept
Just kept
photographing
plugging away.
people, and then after I got out of school, I was like, well, how am I supposed
You
to
do a
make
lot of
dollar
wedding
with
stuff,
this?
right?
I do weddings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I photograph weddings as well. I enjoy doing it. So
No,
yeah, Jordan was
Yeah.
pretty much right there. Had a couple changes along the way.
Yeah, it was
Not many.
Well, how I got so you got me interested in photography, and it was I wanted to start shooting like bands and stuff. That's how I started.
We actually played together.
Yeah, so
didn't even know it.
Yeah, we were Evan and myself were in separate bands, and our bands actually used to play together, and we didn't figure that out until one day when I was in the chair getting my hair cut.
Yeah.
And
Thought we were gonna be rock stars.
right, yeah. So we were just like sitting there talking about that, but like back in the day, that's what I wanted to do. Like I went to like the Juliana Theory shows and stuff, and I would, somehow weasel my way back and, pop off some pictures and stuff. And then it started to happen at like a Coed and Cambria show, and then a Taking Back Sunday show. And I just kept saying, like, back in the day, like not everybody had a camera, so it was cool. Like you show up with a camera, and you're just like, yo, dude. And you like throw your camera up in the air. They
it
were
was
just
a
like,
ticket.
Come on.
Yep.
It was a ticket.
So you just got backstage, and that was like so easy.
It's not as impressive anymore.
No, it's not.
We were like, get out of here.
Yeah, it doesn't,
Just
dude,
throw up
you
an
could hold like a
iPhone.
red camera
Yeah.
up, and they'd be like, "Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
But
there weren't iPhones.
yeah.
There weren't.
There was truth to that, though. You show up with
Right.
a camera, like, hi, I'm here to take pictures. They're like,
they're like, "Dude,
Come on in."
Yeah. So I started at Edinburgh with some photography and stuff, and I didn't have the same experience that Brian did. I had a different professor.
You had a lot of doubts. You mean?
We didn't. Well, I just had a different path. Brian enjoyed his. I didn't enjoy mine. My professor wasn't. We didn't jive at all.
we're not
whatsoever.
talking about the same professor, are we?
Absolutely not. No,
Is it the other
Different one.
female that?
Yeah.
Okay.
different one.
I only had her for one class.
Yeah.
And
And to be honest, it was probably my fault because at that time, I was so just like results oriented. Like I wanted to take a picture, print it, and hang it on my wall, and that be that. Yeah. I didn't want to learn what the fucking zone system was. I didn't care what the zone system was. I didn't want to know it. I didn't want to waste my time shooting, 30 rolls of film to learn it. I didn't want anything to do with it. So that was my problem. Like that was my issue, and we just didn't see eye to eye on that shit.
just put it on auto, man.
I think.
Well, I just like learned how to shoot manual and just like fuck with it until I, figured it out. But if you're going to train to be a professional and you got to show up and take somebody's photo, they can't sit and wait around for you to fucking figure it out. So he was taking a film class at one point and asked me if I wanted to help him out. And so I was like, yeah, sure. So we just like went and, shot this music video for some of our friends. And I had one of the best times of my life doing that. And I was like,
This is a
fucking video. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, a lot of the stuff that happened in the beginning was my fault. I mean, 100%. It was just my age. I wanted to play in my band and hang out with my friends and hang out with, whoever, and I wasn't ready. I quite honestly, I think it just happened at the perfect time. I was just so frustrated and so ready to, do something that I really wanted to do and give it a go, like a real go, not just oh yeah, whatever, like an end all be all type thing. And it just happened. Greg and I had a lot of the same ideology on like Facebook advertising, and I mean, it's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur. I mean,
Oh, dude.
Well,
never.
I was gonna say something about that when you're like, not pursuing it at a younger age. Well, that wasn't out there.
Yeah.
The hustle culture, the gig culture wasn't there yet.
Right.
Yeah.
We didn't have YouTube and bloggers inspiring us to go do your own thing or something similar to what Jordan's bringing in. Like all these people have this similar story.
Yeah, right.
We didn't have access to that.
Right.
No one in my family had their own business. I didn't know anything about that.
I mean, mine did, but it was different. Like my dad had a small business and did pretty well, but
Your uncles had the garage.
yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, it was just different. And to be honest, like I really did I was watching a ton of those motivational videos whenever I was doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
I mean, and those motivational videos, and me wanting to be like a motivational person, it actually ended up working for me. It it was in a different way than what I expected.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and I don't know, man. It's
like everybody's path's different. It's a real weird thing because like I know just growing up with this kid, like we have always kind of been little entrepreneurs. Like we always had lemonade stand. We always were cutting people's grass, shoveling people's snow.
What was the fun? Do you remember the funniest? I know mine. Do you remember the funniest like entrepreneurial thing you did whenever you were a little kid?
I mean, we used to run around the neighborhood and try and sell people their own shit.
We straight up, we picked weeds and sold them to a neighbor, and they paid us for it. Yeah, like weeds from the weeds. Like there were railroad tracks right beside our house.
It felt so bad.
We did. I don't know what was going on, and then like. Yeah. I think we were selling lemonade one time, and like the person like bought a packet of Kool-Aid. They didn't even want it mixed. They
right?
Like, like the packet, the powder, and
because we were
it was $5 for it. I don't know.
We were like,
but we delivered newspapers and everything. Like it was always just trying to make a quarter.
We were putting like an extra cup of sugar in that shit. It was so bad. They were just like, oh, I'll just take that.
They
I'll
just
take
feel
that.
bad because you're cute. And my parents lived right next to the golf course, the Greensburg Country Club, and I would run out onto the driving range and collect the balls and put them in like a 5-gallon bucket. And I would take them up to the pro shop, and I would say that, I did 2 things with those. So I would take half of them up to the pro shop, and I'd say, I found these on the side of the road. Will you give me something? And I still remember, and I still have it. It was like a 2-tone ping golf ball. They were like 2 colors. And, he was like, you found all of these on the side of the road? And I was like, yeah, I did. And he would give me like golf tees and like just get out of here, kid type stuff. And the other half I would take home, and I created my dad had made like a brick sidewalk, and he had a ton of bricks left over, and I made like a walking path and everything, and I made a driving range in my parents' backyard.
Oh wow.
Because their backyard was pretty, decent size. So I made a driving range in my backyard with those and I had like those golf balls in a bin and like tee boxes and like a sign that said like free,
really?
Yeah, driving range $1.
That's
really
awesome.
Yeah. And people would come do it? No. Nobody. Why? What do you mean?
But I hit a ton of balls into the woods. But no one came.
Maybe if you advertised that you would go out and run around in the field.
Dude, I did so much bad stuff at that golf course.
That's really funny.
Our family dentist.
I miss the days before surveillance cameras were in every idiot's backyard.
Dude, they have a creek that runs like the whole way through the golf course, and I mean I lived in that creek, and our dentist, I was like playing in the creek trying to catch like minnows and crawfish, and I came up like a mud monster out of the creek, and our dentist was on the fairway like teeing off, and I saw him, and I run up and I'm like, Dr. Keith, and I'm covered in mud, like, and he just looked at me and he peeled off and his golf cart. But as he peeled off, he like realized it was me, and I could see on his face like he felt bad for a split second. And the next time I went in to get my teeth cleaned, he was like, "Hey buddy, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that was you."
That's awesome.
So he was probably with his dentist buddies and like his like high profile people, and this mud monster, this little mud monster runs out and is trying to say hi to you.
So you were always on the golf course. It was right there. It was your backyard.
Yeah, I mean, literally.
I can only imagine. Can you imagine if that was in our backyard?
Good Lord.
Oh, dude, my dog ran out there. We had to chase him, and he peed on a dog. He peed on a golfer's shoe, and I mean, like, it was always something.
Did you do any caddying there?
No.
Did they have a program of caddies?
You would have thought that, like, that's where my dad, like I said, had a small business, so he took me to work with him a lot. Yeah. But, like, you would have think that would have been my first job.
Yeah. Did you caddy, Jordan?
I have a good story about that actually goes along with the photography story.
Because I totally caddied.
You did caddy.
Where?
I went to
Latrobe Country Club, and then I did
Arnie
a little
Palmer. I played there.
And then I did something up at what was that Ligonier one? Laurel
Valley.
Yeah, Laurel Valley.
That's a nice fucking course.
Well, they didn't let me out very often, so I was 16. I wanted to get a car, and they were roasting me, not letting me get out, and that was a waste of a Saturday. So I just quit going.
I went.
So you both did photography. You both caddied.
Well, no,
we both went to Edinburgh.
We both didn't caddy. I went to the caddy school night or whatever. Like
Where?
the initiation or
What's caddy school night?
The country club.
Okay.
That was like the first night you had to show orientation. That's what it was called. I got there and like everything was cool. And then like the head caddy dude was like, all right, you don't talk unless you're spoken to. And immediately I took that so personal and I was like, fuck this, I'm out. And I just turned around and left. Again, I just don't like people telling me what the fuck to do. I just don't. And it's something that I've never really enjoyed. That's what I was saying. Like everybody's path is a little bit different when you get into this entrepreneurial type of thing. And it's just like, you know, I did the 9-to-5 thing for like a long time and stuff. And when I was younger, like I keep telling everybody, I wish I did it when I was younger. But again, to go back to your point, I wasn't ready. I just wasn't ready for it. I was like too comfortable in my 9-to-5 gig. I had salary and benefits and all that stuff. And it was just like, it was great. And then finally it just got to a tipping point where I was like, I have to do this. Like I have to do it or I'm not going to do it. And I just went and did it. And I mean, almost 3 years later, I'm still doing it.
I do think the big difference would be like the salon atmosphere versus barbering.
Yeah.
And I mean, barbering, for a long time, there was two types of barbershops. There were the like old school Italian barbershop, or there were the black or there were the black inner city barbershops.
Yeah.
And you went to one and the other.
I experienced both.
But then all of a sudden it started to merge. And I think that really is a big reason why Comrades is so successful, is because it doesn't matter. I don't care. Dude, we have Asian, Mexican, black, white. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like the barbers in there know how to cut everyone's hair. Everyone says like, oh, I would go into this place and they would know how to cut my hair, but the next place wouldn't. Or, I mean, and back in the day, if you were black and you went to an Italian shop or a white barber shop, they didn't know how to cut your hair. And the same vice versa. I mean, if you went into a black barber shop and you had straight hair, they didn't know how to, you know, cut a slick back and, you know, use shears in the way you wanted your hair cut. And all of a sudden, a white dude can cut a black dude's hair and a black dude can. Yeah. It's a really, really cool thing. You know?
Yeah, it's real awesome that you guys are in town, just because, I mean,
it's a diverse.
Yeah. I mean, we grew up with the old Italian barber and we did that. And when I moved out to Lancaster, the only places out there beside, I mean, there were tons of places to get your hair cut, but the barber shops were so plentiful. They were just everywhere. And so I latched onto one that I liked and I just kept going there and going there. And the one time they gave me the fade, like the whole way up, no hairline in the back. And I was like, dude, this is terrible. Like I was so like mortified. Like I hated everything for like 4 weeks. And then, so I kept getting that blocked off hairline. Like I wanted the straight cut in the back. And, until everyone listened to me until I came to you and you're like, nah, we're going to do it like, I like this with the, how I like
it?
Block it off in the back, like the blocked straight off hairline or whatever.
Lining it up. Yeah.
Not rounded, but like you gave me like the whole fade.
Yeah, tapered it.
Yeah. And then I started to like it because you did it right. Those guys there, they were just like, it was way up here. And I looked like one of the Three Stooges. It was real bad. And I had to go to a fucking job interview too. Oh, no. And they were just like,
they don't know you. They wouldn't realize it.
I mean,
it was terrible.
I think there's a lot of strengths to barbering. I mean, there's some guys we have that are so good that they don't have to say a word. I mean, like I mentioned, I mean, we have a lot of good guys, but like Greg and Daryl they literally could cut hair all week and not say a word. They're just really, really good barbers. And then you have guys that are like Joey and Jamie, and I mean, quite honestly, like even myself, like I mean, we're decent barbers, but we work more on relationships, you know, and I mean, it's however angle you wanna take it, you know. And, I think an important thing is telling people what they need, not what they want. You know, there's a lot of times people show you a picture and it's like, listen, man, your hair won't do that.
Right. Yeah.
And having the confidence to say that, to say, listen, this isn't for you.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, you're the expert, man. I mean, that's what I look to other people to do for me. Like, that's why you're in the job that you're in.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's a weird thing to.
I've made so many good friends though. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
like, I mean, I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for this job. You know?
I mean, you guys were both at my wedding reception.
Yeah,
I mean, that was like, that was awesome.
I've had a lot of good friends through this, and that's the stuff that I enjoy. That's the stuff that I appreciate. You know.
So you have a minor in therapy then?
Well, everyone's a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's a funny joke. Like, you know, your bartender and your barber.
Yeah.
Right? But I know everyone's stuff. And I mean, and I do tell people, I'm like, listen, don't ever make a big decision without coming and talk to your barber first, because you got to think. I cut a podcast, a filmmaker, a photographer, a cardiologist, a psychologist,
You know everybody.
a real estate agent, a car salesman. I mean, literally everyone. So, you know,
And you know them on a different level.
yeah, I mean,
You know.
yeah, I know, I really know them.
Yeah.
You know, so it's been, you definitely, if you have any questions, talk to your barber first.
The reason that, like, I got my hair cut from pretty much every dude that worked in the Greensburg shop, and some of the guys that are in the Irwin shop now because they moved up to the Irwin shop. All of them cut great hair. I loved the cuts that I got. The reason that I stuck with you was a simple reason. We were sitting there talking, and I think you were asking me questions about a drone and recording a podcast or something, and some like camera stuff. And you literally started taking notes, and I'm like,
I still remember that.
I'm like,
conversation.
this guy's fucking awesome. Like, he gives a shit.
Was
what,
it
like, actually what I'm saying?
Like an OBJ or
OBS.
OBS.
That's the broadcasting software.
Yeah, I still remember that. Like,
It's crazy
Well, I
shit.
have to write stuff down. Like,
This was years ago. Years ago.
Saturday we were joking around and I
Yeah.
said something to him and he like quit cutting my hair and I turn around and he's over there writing in his freaking notebook.
I can't remember anything. I'm like, did you guys ever see that?
Am I on record here?
Did you ever see that movie Memento?
Yeah.
Like where he has to
of course.
tattoo. He
Yeah.
can't remember it.
Yeah.
That's me.
Well, it's
Like,
me too, and that's why I'm a
everyone always
photographer.
everyone always says like, you know, oh, I forgot, and they say, oh, it must have not have been important. Literally everything I forget is important, or
Yeah.
else my wife would ever be mad at me.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that was really important stuff that you wrote down in the notebook that day. It was something about a French fry in your beard or something.
it was probably not important, but I want to remember.
Like really important
Wait,
stuff.
do you remember what it was? Do you remember what we were talking about?
Sneaking fast food or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right.
Off the record.
Sneaking fast food, what? From
Well,
your,
that just leads us into marriage stories.
from your
doesn't
wives.
it? Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
That's hysterical.
yeah, sneaking fast food.
So, like, you guys, like, both kind of being, like, kind of, you know, in the entrepreneurial world. I mean, because if people can come to the shop all day, if they don't sit down with you, you're not making any money, correct?
Yeah, yes.
All right, so you are an entrepreneur. Brian, same deal. So what do you guys see happening here in our town, in Greensburg? What do you guys like? Are you guys excited about it? Like, do you see good things happening? Do you see it happening fast?
So, dude, go ahead.
Things are changing quickly.
Yeah.
I've been in Greensburg for a while now. There was a lot of empty buildings sitting around for quite a while. I was working here at the local newspaper for a bunch of years. There was one brewery, and the bars were doing well. We were having fun with that. I was in my 20s. But,
Yeah.
Manhattan's.
but now all of a sudden, you know, there's a different energy.
Yeah.
The Summer Sounds is picking up every year more and more. They're doing downtown green. I mean, I'm just repeating things that are happening, but yeah, I mean, things are happening and it's happening fast. And of course that's good.
Yeah.
Because this is where I like chose to live. So,
Yeah.
I want fun things to do, and I don't want to raise kids in a place that they just want to run out on because they grew up in some boring town.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
And you lived in Pittsburgh, so
Yeah.
you know. To come in to see, good things happening here, I think is pretty neat. Like, it's like beating a dead horse, but obviously I lived in Lancaster, and there were lots of shit going on there.
Yeah.
Where have you lived, I guess, previous to this?
Well, I mean, whenever we were getting started, I mean, we kind of lived on the outskirts of, this area, but now I'm telling you, one of the big components. I mean, government is small, right? But like I think, businesses wanting to be businesses is like people, one of the, like, if we're talking like singular people, I think Suzanne Ward is a huge part. She's killing it. She's trying to bring all these people that have ideas and want to have businesses together. I mean, she did my house. Like where I live is because of her. Like she, and interesting enough, because I'm in Irwin at the barber shop, I started exploring restaurants and shops in downtown Irwin, and a lot of those shops and everything that are in downtown Irwin are starting to create like sister shops and restaurants in downtown Greensburg. Because before, everyone knows, downtown Irwin was just a funeral home and a laundromat and a church, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And now it's a really, really cool place to go.
Yeah, it's cute.
And,
dude, I heard it's pretty hip.
It's sick. Like, I mean, there's a lot of places to go and eat and drink and have a good time, and that's starting to be mirrored in Greensburg. And I think like that has a lot to do with Suzanne and trying to like dough wood fired pizza. I'm
like real excited about it.
I can't wait, dude. I go there like almost. I've turned everyone.
I've never had it. Have you had it?
No. Are they bringing it here?
Yeah,
in the Greensburg.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many, and I think we'll see that like what worked somewhere. We'll see. Okay, this is what I think. Whenever we were growing up, there were small businesses, and then the malls moved into town, which were basically like the physical internet. You could go and you could interact with people. You could get everything in one place at a cheaper rate. And now Amazon, and I really do think Amazon and online shopping are really helping small business because, and this is why. So you can order anything. You can have, I don't care if it's toilet paper, you can have it delivered right to your doorstep. And yeah, I mean, literally, like,
subscribe and save, motherfucker.
And you can have
one of those buttons above the
deliver the food to my mouth, chew it for me, but you can have whatever you want. And so the mall, there's nothing special about the mall anymore,
Yeah.
And so like for us, we remember a time where small business was huge and was a really cool thing. So it's nostalgic for us. Anybody younger than us, they're like, have you seen all these new small businesses coming up?
Yeah.
Like, it's new to them. So no matter what, you win. So if people, since you can have anything from like one pen to napkins to paper plates delivered to your front door, you want this like special experience if you are going to go out and shop. So people,
that's a good point.
So people are gravitating toward these like really small, like that's why, same thing, even though like a barbershop, the mall and Supercuts, Fantastic Sam's, or Sports Clips or whatever.
Yeah.
That was the mall of haircutting, right? So now that's not so special anymore. So now people want the small business, the real hometown feel, like, I don't know, there's just something about it that people are going smaller because they can get whatever they want at any time.
Yeah.
So if they are going to go out of their way and actually investigate something, they want like a real deal, like person to person experience, because that's lacking right now.
Dude, that was, very good. I mean,
was that okay?
No, that like, it makes perfect sense in my head. I mean, that's 100% real. I order everything online.
Yeah.
I mean,
think about it. The mall was that. You can get anything you wanted.
yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, now, Jesus, you go there and you barely get anything.
Instead of browsing, you browse.
Right?
You know, so I think that's why. I think we're gonna see a huge resurgence in small business, and I'm excited for it.
It's really neat. I think that just like, the stuff that we need, like the equipment that we need for like video and photography and things, it's nearly impossible to get that stuff locally. So I think that like chipping away at like building our equipment and our gear and all that stuff, it just, online became such a thing. It was like B&H, the Natarama. And now like, dude, I just buy everything on Amazon. Mm-hmm. And it's like, when it comes to tax time, like I did my taxes yesterday, I just like go in there and I'm like, boom, 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 boom. And it's all itemized for me. I just drop it into the taxes and bam, there's all my expenses.
The other thing that I think is important is to know that education is so accessible. So, I mean, like I'm a nerd. Like I'll be the first one to admit it. I don't, if I think a thought, like, oh, I wonder what.
Who, the guy taking notes?
Yeah. I mean, well, that's why I take notes. Like, because I want to know. Sometimes it's funny thoughts. Sometimes it's things I want to learn about. Why? What's the only land mammal that lays eggs? Oh, like, or what?
You think about this kind of stuff?
All the time.
Platypus.
I mean, and
It's a platypus.
It's a platypus. Yeah, I told him. But like, so just whatever. I mean, education is accessible now. So if you want to start a business, it's actually possible. You didn't have to. Yeah. I mean, even though Greg and Comrades were a huge part of me learning what I needed to do, I was on YouTube every day. Mm-hmm. Every night when I went home, I was like studying. Oh, well, this guy doesn't. Why is that? Why isn't he doing that? Or why is he? Oh, okay, now I get it. I mean, so whatever idea you have, I mean, and I'm really curious to see how public education and colleges change. It's because now you don't have to pay a fortune for education. You can get it for free. And same with public education. It's going to be really interesting to see how things it's hard to contextualize things whenever you're living through them, but I really think we're living through a really, really interesting time, and it's going to be cool to see.
Oh, I think so, man, for sure. It goes back to your point. Like, we didn't really have YouTube and all these like motivational speakers and all of this stuff, back in the day. But when I did first start my business, man, like, if I felt lazy for a day or something, I would be downstairs like eating breakfast or something and kind of drinking like a couple extra cups of coffee just because I didn't feel like going up to my office. And then I'd pop on like YouTube or something and I would watch somebody just sit there and start talking about like, yo, man, get out there and get it. Do this, do that. And like within 5 minutes, I'm like, out there. Man, I'm fucking going upstairs. And I'm like upstairs doing like the hardest, like,
you'd watch the Rocks Instagram. It was awesome. Have you ever seen the Rocks Instagram?
Dude, Mark that guy's Wahlberg. So motivational.
Mark Wahlberg.
That guy's nuts.
Yeah.
Like, Mark Wahlberg's crazy. He's awesome.
But that stuff is out there now.
It really is, man. I mean,
if it wasn't for those motivational videos, we wouldn't have ever got motivated. Like,
now everyone's all hyped up running around.
Yeah.
And I do
I'm getting tired.
Oh, dude, I'm so tired. But I do think it's important to stay current. I'm guilty of it. Everyone's guilty of it. But a huge component of I believe my success and Comrades' success is constantly posting online. You need to use Facebook to your advantage. It's free. Back before you needed a lot of money. You need a lot of capital, and you need to hire a guy. You need to hire a photographer or a filmmaker to make a commercial for you, and then airtime, whether it was radio or I remember like we were talking about being in a band. I remember I called the radio station. I was like, how much would it be to make an ad for? And this was like way about 2005. Yeah, they said $500 for 30 seconds. And I mean, that was like, you might as well have said 500 bajillion cotillion dollars. Like, I mean, what? I don't have $500.
You're kidding me?
Yeah. So like, now you can, and that would have reached maybe 23 people that were listening.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, now it's
Now you can advertise on like awesome
now
podcasts
it's
and
graphable. Whenever I make a post, it shows me how many people saw it, how many people liked it, how many people actually engaged with it. I mean, use it to your advantage. It's free, and you can also boost posts, which is very, very important. You can invest very, very little money and reach an exorbitant amount of people. Yeah, I mean, one time I invested $13 and it reached like 25,000 people in one day. Yeah, I mean, the subject matter was cool. Like it was. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but the subject matter was a good story. Yeah, you know, you obviously have to put out good content, but stay current, because I'm guilty of that. I mean, holidays come up, you know, whatever life circumstances is happening, and I might not post as much because I'm busy or this or that, but I do think, but in the beginning when I wasn't as busy, I mean, bam, 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 and I think that's very important, and to stay current, because we have very short attention spans and we'll forget about you.
Dude, it keeps getting less and less. Every platform that comes out, it gets less and less and less and less. You know, like it was a Friendster, and then Facebook, and then, you know, Kim to Instagram was like this long, Snapchat's this long, and the Vine was like 6 seconds or something like that. I mean, you got to be on your game.
But what's crazy is it's both. So yeah, you want to have a quick reaction, you want to get them quick, but also now people are gravitating towards things like this, which is long form conversation, where we want something. I mean, I love podcasts. I mean, that's what I do. I learn about everything from the evolution of reptiles to just whatever, you know. I mean, psychology. I mean, now it's both, you know. You got to meet them in the middle or at the short end or the long game, like, but stay current, and that's why I love what you're doing, because you keep putting something out, and that's important. You didn't just do this and create this space and do something every once in a while. You keep coming up with something, or someone new, and I mean, even this is new. It's more of a hang. It's more of a, you know, friends just kind of BSing. Yeah. And it's the same thing, but it's you're turning.
So it's a little less formal, and I think
exactly. But I do give you credit, and actually, he gave you really good credit. I cut his hair the other day when we were talking. He gave you a lot of props, and he said, you know, I give him credit. He jumped right into it. You could have just done like the BS thing, like we're doing now with the friends, out of the gate, and been more comfortable. But you kind of did like the more formal thing, and met people that you didn't even know, and which is harder, you know, and I mean, it's great.
People with big names in the community, like, yeah, come on in, I have a podcast. I'm like, I would have warmed up with like some friends.
Yeah, me too. I mean,
it was a little like, I did everything I could, I think, to talk myself out of this for the longest time. Like, I started acquiring the equipment and things, and I had it all stashed up in my office.
Oh, we've been talking about
and
those,
just
right?
like in a corner. And then, you know, I had this like table, and then like I got the refrigerator, and then like all this stuff started piling up. And my wife was like, so what are you going to do with all of your stuff? And I'm like, well, I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't have a space or anything. And then the Cultural Trust came about, and I came down and talked to them, and the rent was just so affordable that I was like, man, I have to do this.
That was the missing piece.
Pulled the trigger on that, and then at that point, I remember we were sitting at Toad's. We were actually with your wife.
I've never been there. What is that, a bar or something?
Right, yeah. And Kelly Brisbane shared she came and took pictures of the studio and shared it before I did. And I opened Facebook and I saw my studio and I went, oh shit, this is real now.
It's on.
And so that was just it. It was good, because if she wouldn't have gave me that kick in the ass, I don't know that I would have started when I did. I might have let it go for like another month or something like that. But
man, I got ideas following me around for years.
I mean, I got really excited, because like every haircut we were talking about more and more and more.
Dude, it was a lot of fun, man. Like, every time we would come in, we would talk about like, well, how you gonna film it? How are you gonna record it? And I would come in every single time with a different way of doing it. And I was like, nah, this is the best way to do it. And then I would go home in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't want to lie. I'm not a 2 week fucking guy. I'm like 3 or 4 weeks.
As long as it's once a month, I don't care.
I got to keep all the hair I have. So, but yeah, every time I came in, it was like different thing. Like, yo, I'm going to get 2 camcorders, or hey, I'm going to get 2 like,
oh, we talked about, GoPros. We talked
webcams, GoPros, all that stuff.
We looked up podcasts we like online and we were like, well, that's way too much money.
Yeah.
But eventually you'll be there. I mean, and there'll be a camera attached to that wall and that wall.
Yeah.
And,
I'm still like trying to figure it out, and like I keep on thinking about it. And when I do have the money to pull the trigger to get the cameras, I'm just like, well, do I want to spend my time now editing 3 different angles?
Yeah.
No. This one angle is good enough. When I see the YouTube numbers jump, then I'll start editing different angles.
Yeah.
But until then, y'all can listen.
Well, I mean, sometimes and that's basic. And I think the video part of it, whenever, at least for me personally, whenever I listen to a lot of podcasts and I listen, and then if something happens, then I glance over to see the video. So I think the video is like secondary. I really do think people just like to listen.
Mm-hmm. I think so. You?
It's all listen for me. Yeah.
They want to know that the video is there if they want to watch. But for the most part,
I mean, I'm a multitasker, and sit there to watch something like that. It's just a conversation.
Yeah.
I'm working and listening at the same time, or driving. A lot of driving. I have a commute.
But that's why this is cool, because it feels like you're sitting here and you're in the conversation.
Mm-hmm. It's fun. I mean, like, I know that Brian and I were really big fans of talk radio. Just kind of like 2000s, early 2000s era. You listen to a lot of Howard Stern. I listen to the Opie and Anthony show.
Oh yeah, that's what started podcasts.
Mm-hmm. It really is. I mean, like, I could sit there and listen to these guys talk to each other for whatever their shift was, 6 hours or something like that, 4 hours, and then I'd be lost for like another 2 hours until like the Ron and Fez show came out. Then I was like, yes, I got another like 4 hour show to listen to. Yeah. And that was like how I got through work. And I could edit video. And if I had something that was like audio, then I couldn't listen to the podcast that day. But if it was just something real quick and easy, like graphics or something, or editing photos, I could pop the podcast on and or not the podcast, but the radio show.
Yeah.
And just go. Yeah. And it was so much fun. And then him and I would like call each other and just say like, listen to what these stupid assholes said today. And like, it was so funny. That's a lot of how I got into stand-up comedy.
Oh,
like,
definitely. Yeah.
Just knowing like all the guys
saying,
that,
really.
Speaking of stand-up, have you guys, do you guys know Tom Papa?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
He just came out with a new special. It's so good. And it's like our lives 100%.
Yeah. Dude, he's a very funny guy.
It's like,
is he coming in from like a family angle, or?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like coming kids.
Yeah.
He's like,
I'm in that.
It's, I think I don't want to misquote. I don't want to misquote it. I think I think it's called "You're Doing All Right."
Mm-hmm.
I
like a motivational talk.
I think
fine, bro.
I think that's what it is. And it's basically just about like. I'm trying to find it.
Oh, here we go.
See, this is what.
Put that down. Check out Tom Papa's new special on Netflix.
Yeah, it just came out. So, and it's basically just about like, if you're fat, it's okay. We're all getting fat. Like, it's like you're either trying not to be fat, you are fat, or not trying to be fat some more, or like it's about like just normal wife stuff and kids, and
dude, that's the funniest thing, because like that's what these people are like all tapping into, is just like, comedians back in the day, they had these like very extravagant tales of like kind of what they were doing, and like very loud and very funny, and it was awesome, and I love that. But now just to hear like these guys sitting there talking about like, having to rehome their dog because they had a kid and the dog hated the fucking kid and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And it's like, the emotion that you get from like a guy like Bill Burr who's sitting there talking about this is hysterical because he's just an angry dude to begin with.
Yeah.
But him trying to like man up and be like, all right, that's cool. Go ahead, take the dog. And then he's just like breaking shit in his house for the next like 2 weeks.
I know. And that's why I think it's cool because this is the first podcast you've had multiple figures on. You've had more than one person, but they've all been for the same business.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
I think that's cool because it's like, oh well, let me check this dude out. Let me check that dude out. Oh, I like what he said. Like, and I like
it. Yeah, I really enjoy this. I think this is more of like, if I would get people in that are more kind of like, you know, friends like this or like in different businesses and things, I would want to do this, like this whole like I was just joking earlier, but this whole like after dark thing.
Yeah.
This actually, is like a later show, just because it's fun.
We explode, like
just like
throw stuff on fire.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I think it's a lot of fun because I mean, like you really don't have to. We don't have to sit here and talk about the exact same thing over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a local show, and I try to focus all of my energy on, you know, just getting people to know the talent that is surrounding them.
Yeah.
At all times. And I think that was like kind of the coolest thing. Those are the funnest emails that I get. Those are just like, I love what you're doing, you know, for small business here because people know who people are now. And that's great.
Well, even whenever I've listened to your podcast, I found myself... That's what I mean. Like, it feels like you're in the conversation. I've found myself wanting to jump in and ask a question to whoever you're talking to. You know what I mean? So
we have a caller.
Yeah, we do. I can do that.
Yeah, we should.
If I ever go live, I'll put you guys on speed dial.
We should start prank calling people. We should do 74 local prank call.
Do you remember, Jordan? Do you remember the moment that we realized that caller ID exists in the mid '90s?
Oh man,
we were prank calling and then it called back.
Do you remember the Arnold Schwarzenegger like the
soundboard?
It would be like a soundboard.
Yeah. Yep.
You could be like Arnold Schwarzenegger, or like Matthew Broderick, or like whatever.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, we. I don't even remember what. I think we just called like a random number out of the phone book or something, and we did a lot.
One time I called. So I prank called a number. I literally just dialed like 74 or whatever, like just dialed numbers, and I called it and I started doing the prank call. And on the other end of the line, they were like, Evan, I will kill you.
Oh.
And I was like, what? And I like looked up, I'm on my parents' house phone. And I'm like, who is this? And they're like, this is Evan, right? And I'm like, no. And they're like, this is Evan Dinsmore. And I'm like, who is this? And they're like, it's Adam. And it was my best friend's brother, big brother. And like, he just knew my voice, like, because I was over their house.
And you just happened to dial his number?
He had just
subconsciously?
He had just gotten a new, it was like when cell phones were just invented, basically.
Dude, and that was your chance to hit the lottery, and you fucking wasted it on that.
he had just gotten, and he was like older. He was like 2 or 3 years older than us, and he had just gotten a cell phone, and I just randomly dialed a number, and it happened to be him. And I mean, this is like my best friend that I'm over their house every day. Like, I could walk to their house and I start, you know, and he's like, and he still knew it was my voice.
That's absurd.
And he threatened to kill me, and then calls me. Whenever I heard my name over the phone, I was like, this went south. Like, I didn't expect a prank call to go like this. I'm pretty sure it was my first prank call. And the person on the other end knew it was me.
That's what happened to us. We were like prank calling somebody, and the person who was on the phone says Jordan's mom's name and then repeats the phone number. And I'll never forget. We looked at each other like, how? We didn't even know caller ID was a thing.
Yeah.
Had no idea.
I was shocked, to say the least.
Oh, well.
Yeah, she says my mom's
so
name,
you had the
says
same
the
feeling.
phone number.
Yeah, you had the same feeling.
Like, Oh my God. Yeah. She was just reading it off of that little
We call it a psychic.
caller ID box. And yeah, it was crazy. I remember being in an English class and our teacher prompted us to write very, very, I don't know what you want to call it, very complimentary letters to like companies. And she was like, a lot of times they might send you something. And I'm like, oh, sweet. Okay.
I want a Hoover vacuum.
Right. Yeah. Dear Mr. Maserati.
I feel like I went through that with somebody. Yeah, okay. We must have the same teacher.
Yeah. So I'm thinking like, yo, I'm going to write to...
I would have done
I
more
had
of those
posters.
originals.
I had posters all over my wall when I was a kid. Like, I loved basketball. So I wrote to the poster company, whoever that was, and I just said, like, I love your posters. I have them hanging all over my walls. I have this one and this one and this one and this one, and like Scottie Pippen and the Dream Team and Dennis Rodman, all this stuff. And so they sent me a poster, and I was like, "Whoa, this is awesome! Like free shit." And then somewhere down the line, I started to think, well, what if I complain about something? Maybe they'll send me even more shit.
Yeah.
And I think you and I did that one time. I'm not going to say who it was. I'm not going to say what the hell we said.
Chick-fil-A.
Nope. We'll talk about that after the mics are off. But it was a good story, and it needs to be heard by you and only you.
Oh, come on, Jordan. What a buildup.
No.
Do you want me to say it?
Was it the juice?
It was, yeah.
Just tell me after.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, we started there, and then like
We didn't get anything for free.
we got
either, by the way.
nothing.
All that time and energy.
I think I called Coke. I called Coca-Cola at one time and said that I found a hair in my thing, so they would try and so I was trying to get like a case of pop, and they're like, "Sir, that's virtually impossible.
Dude,
we have the cleanest shit on the planet." And I'm like, "Okay, sorry." Bing. I'm sorry. Must have been mine. God damn it.
I had a friend that I'm not friends with him anymore because of what he did. No, I'm just kidding.
Really?
I'm just kidding. But he would drive around to drive-thrus, and he'd be like, "What do you want?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" It was the first time he did it. It blew my mind. And he's like, "Pick anything. What do you want?" And I'm like, "I don't know, chicken tenders and French fries." And he'd pull up. He's like, "Okay." And he's like, "Yeah, I just got an order, and you guys forgot our chicken tenders and French fries."
No, okay.
And they were just like, "Pull it up." And we would pull up, and they would always say sorry. And that was the only time I did it. That was the only time because I didn't know what was happening.
Fucking love
and
Seems like this is the point in the podcast that we stop.
I swear I didn't know.
We're all admitting.
I thought he was buying
An
me
hour and 18 minutes in, we're starting to get comfortable.
I thought he was buying me lunch, and he wasn't. He was stealing. And he was like, I was like, "Oh, that's really nice of you." And he's like, "Yeah." And every time they pull up, they would apologize. And he's like, and they gave it to him. So then he'd go to the next store.
Don't let it happen again.
Yeah. And he's like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "I just ate chicken tenders and French fries. I'm full." And he's like, "You want a chicken wrap?" Or like, what? But he had stuff lined up on the back seat. All he had to do was say that they forgot something, and they would give it to him. And they apologized, and he just loved that they apologized. Mm-hmm. And I was like, "You're sick, man. Mm-hmm. I can't hang out with you anymore." I hung out with him for a little bit longer, but then he went really crazy.
Ah, well, we were all kids.
Yeah.
Kids do fucked up shit.
This was last month. No.
And there goes your career.
Right. All right, dudes. We're like an hour 20 in.
We just got warmed up. Should we like start over?
Were you recording this?
Let's do another hour.
Oh, no. I forgot to record.
That was just practice.
Well,
that was just to get you comfortable.
I feel very comfortable.
Yeah, maybe a little too.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good podcast. Did you guys have fun?
I had a great time.
Good time.
I can't wait to
this
come
was
back.
a good introduction to it.
Do you think you guys would want to do it again?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I enjoy this like hang session type thing. I think it's a lot of fun. And I think there's other avenues for something like this as well.
Yeah.
Like the idea of coming in here for an hour and just talking about myself back and forth is like kind of freaks me out a little bit. So this was nice. Just to come in.
Were you okay?
Huh?
You're okay.
You're gonna survive.
I don't know.
No, I mean, like, it is kind of, it's like that. So like when I have like my initial like consultation, like either through email or text or talk on the phone or something, you know, everyone's like, what should I expect? And, you know, a lot of what I want to say is, you know, I expect you guys to talk more because, I mean, you're the expert in your field.
Yeah.
You know, just last week, for instance, I talked about the ballet, and you know,
What are
I
you gonna
don't
talk
I don't
about?
know a whole ton of shit about ballet, but it got really interesting. The way that they were presenting the information got like real interesting, and I got hooked. And I was like,
Well, I've noticed sometimes
Wow.
you talk a lot more, and sometimes you just kind of
yeah,
keep it going. You kind of feel the space, like you kind of feel the air whenever it's there. But
Yeah.
like most of the time, like, and there were times where you know what you're talking about, or you can chime in, and other times where you just kind of keep them going because how are you gonna talk about that?
right, yeah.
I mean,
it's a little weird. There's definitely episodes where I had to kind of drag information out of people a little bit more than others.
that too, yeah.
Some people are very uncomfortable with dead air space.
Oh yeah.
So those people keep talking. Some people can say a sentence and stop and just sit here for like 5 seconds.
Well,
It
wait
seems
for you.
like 5 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm like in the middle of like taking a drink or something. I'm like,
Well,
okay, so yeah, I think this is interesting because
yeah, well, I think that's why the headphones are good. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it keeps you tuned in. Like,
It really does.
Brian's got one. I don't know if you can see that, but he's got one on, one off. He's doing,
that's that old school talk
That's-
radio shit
It
going
was
on right there.
That's
it was
Jim
a little
Norton.
intense for me.
Jim
What's that?
Norton always said that he likes
Yeah.
to do that. But I think I like being tuned in. I think because I know the sound of my own voice, I know the volume of it. I know what you're saying, and you can hear that dead space. I mean, it's very interesting. You know, you can. Oh, you're like, oh well, I better stop. Just being in my head right now, like,
Yeah.
and thinking I better say something, but you do a really good job at that. And yeah, I mean, you help too, like, and just naturally,
It's weird.
like,
It's a different experience, that's for sure.
yeah, I mean, because there were times I like, what do I want to say, and I just stop, and
Yeah.
and then you would, you know, so I mean,
It's just, you know, it's weird. I mean, like, I've never done this before. I mean, what is this? This is going to be my 13th episode.
Yeah.
I've only fucking done 13 of these ever in my life. So,
Yeah.
what I think helped was probably just doing some YouTube videos. Talking, if I can sit and talk to a camera for 45 minutes and that thing's not answering me back,
Well-
then hopefully I can talk to somebody that will at least answer me back.
I was really impressed whenever I watched it, because when I first met you, I looked up your videos, and I just heard the way you conducted yourself and like the way you looked on camera, and you did sound better than I expected, and looked better.
Yeah.
Looked better than I expected.
What are you doing after this? What are you doing after this, Aquaman?
Get over here.
But yeah, I'm glad you guys enjoyed yourself.
Thank you, man.
I really
Thank
like
you.
to do it again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
After dark. After dark.
After dark.
After dark.
All right. Later.
Later.
Peace.